The classic Red Riding Hood story is about a little girl who goes through the woods to check up on her grandmother and to carry treats. During the trip, she's intercepted by the big bad wolf who goes to her grandma's house, eats grandma, and then tries to eat Little Red Riding Hood. But in this story, it's told by the wolf himself. He tells us about how Red Riding Hood was rotten. If you want to hear more, stay tuned. Our book is about to begin. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just finishing my lunch. My name's Wolf, Big Bad Wolf. You may have heard the story of Little Red Riding Hood, about a girl and her granny. Seems everyone has. My tale is different. Did I say tale? I meant tale. Once upon a time, I ran out of food. Completely. The cupboards were bare. The freezer too. And I'd eaten every last vegetable and fruit in the garden. Every one. Other wolves might have lunched on little forest critters. Chipmunks, bunnies, squirrels. But I'm a vegetarian. That's right. I don't eat meat. Well, I try not to. I love apples. Honeycrisp, Pink Lady, Golden Delicious. Any kind, really. But sadly, it was a long time until apple harvest. I hadn't eaten in weeks. My stomach growled and howled. It moaned and groaned. It even roared. Then my nose took over. I took a whiff. What was it? A girl. I took a whiff. What was that? Cake. Butter. In this forest? I had to investigate. And there she was, Little Red Riding Hood. She looked as plump and juicy as a big sweet apple. Little Red waved her cape. "Isn't it pretty?" she said. "Yeah," I said. "Aren't I pretty?" she said. Was she admiring herself in that puddle? "This cape," she said. "I'm even prettier than usual." Boy, someone sure was full of herself. My stomach growled. Oh no. Little Red twirled a strand of hair. "Mother says the cape looks grand with my skin. My skin shines like pearls." Or the meat of a ripe apple, I thought, licking my chops. Remember, I hadn't eaten in weeks. Time to chomp. But then Little Red said, "I can't wait until Granny sees how pretty I am today. I'm bringing her cake and butter from my mother." My stomach howled. 2 meals, I thought. Granny for breakfast, Little Red for lunch, and cake and butter for dessert. "Where does Granny live?" I asked. Little Red pointed. "Down there, in the clearing, the brown house." I knew that house, and I had a plan. "Let's play a game," I said. Little Red smiled. "I'm awesome at games." "I bet you are," I said. "You take this path, I'll take that path, and let's see who arrives at Granny's first." "I will," she said. "I'm the prettiest and the fastest." "I bet you are," I said. My stomach moaned. Before it groaned, I ran. No one knows the forest like I do. I chose the shorter path. I took a whiff. What was that? Apple air freshener? I knocked on the door. "Who's there?" called out a voice. "Your granddaughter," I squeaked. "I brought you cake and butter from Mother." "Doors open." Granny said. Granny tugged at her nightcap. Green, she said. Isn't it pretty? Pretty like a Granny Smith apple, I thought. Aren't I pretty? Granny said. You must have heard the saying, the apples doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, it's true. My stomach roared. What's that noise? Granny asked. I had to eat her. She was no Macintosh apple, but not too bad. I still felt hungry. Little Red knocked on the door. Who's there? I called out, crawling into Granny's bed. Your granddaughter, Little Red said. I brought you cake and butter from Mother. Doors opened, I said. Little Red walked in and caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Isn't my cake pretty, Granny? She said. Aren't I pretty? I clenched my teeth. Granny, Little Red said, what deep dark eyes I have. I said, the color of apple seeds. Granny, she said, what perfect ears I have. I said, shaped like sharply cut apple slices. Granny, she said, what pretty red lips I have. I said, red delicious. Granny, she said, what lovely skin I have. I ate her up. What can I say? Things look different when you're hungry. She was no Fuji or Crispin apple. In fact, to be honest, she was a bit rotten. But she was better than nothing. Plus, I got dessert. Let's think about it. Have you ever read the classic version of Little Red Riding Hood? I'm sure you have. There are some things that are different in the old story versus this new one. Let's take a look. On the left, we have the classic Little Red Riding Hood story, and on the right, we have this story as told by the wolf. Let's compare and contrast the two of them using a Venn diagram. In the old version, it is told by an invisible person or a third person. Also, Little Red Riding Hood was aware of her surroundings. She knew she was talking to a wolf and she wasn't all about herself. Also, a woodcutter helped to save Grandma from the wolf. In this new version, it's told by the wolf himself. He gives us his own point of view of the story. Little Red Riding Hood is so into herself. She's so vain and conceited. And also, in this story, the wolf was a vegetarian. He ate mostly fruits. When we compare the two stories, we look for things that are similar. For the two stories, the wolf pretends to be Grandma. He jumps into her bed, puts on her glasses and her cap, and also he eats Grandma. Let's go back to the beginning of the story. Remember when the wolf said that it was not apple season? What if it was apple season? Do you think the wolf would have eaten Little Red Riding Hood and her grandma? Why? Or why not? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I like this version more. Which one did you like more? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Until then, bye!